Welcome back, you beautiful bastards. I apologize in advance, as I normally don't do just, straight up news videos, but I could not resist on this one. What with my recent videos highlighting the bullshit of studios like Square Enix and their uncanny ability to drive their IPs into the ground, that also means I need to call out their wins when they present themselves. News has come out of Eastern studios such as Square Enix and NetEase, a Chinese company, that once again proved the phrase, get woke, go broke. So let's take a look at the BS in the industry without pulling any punches. If you're new here, smash the subscribe and like button if you enjoy this kind of content, and kindly see your way out if you're a sensitive snowflake that can't take the brutal truth that is reality. Let's do the drop, and then observe the fallout.
I am Razio.
Oh man, it is a bloodbath, and you know what? It's glorious. Asian powerhouses like NetEase and Square Enix are straight up eviscerating their Western operations. Layoffs in the hundreds so far. Studios shuttered like bad fan fiction. Funding yanked faster than a lineup at a Lily Phillips event.
Oh my.
Why? Well, because their investments in the West, pumped full of DEI consultants, pronoun policies, and diversity quotas, have all, unsurprisingly, bombed harder than an Obama drone over a civilian birthday party.
That's really fucked up.
We're talking $200+ million black holes on titles that prioritize inclusivity over, just being fun games. But enough of the dark humor, let's just look at the failures, because nothing pisses the mentally unstable off more than cold hard facts backed by accessible data like, the firings we're seeing, and why this is a wake-up call for, I think, something that the AAA game industry really needs right now. Let's start with the kings of the cut. NetEase, the Chinese behemoth that's had its hands in many games over the years, but most recently is the hit Marvel Rivals, which just hit 40 million players without a single rainbow flag in sight, I might add. Back in 2019 to 2023, these guys were on a Western spending spree, as it were, dropped billions of dollars acquiring or funding like 20 different studios across the United States, Canada, and Europe. Think like all-star teams like Mass Effect's writers at, Worlds Untold, Halo vets at Jar of Sparks, even Star Wars The Old Republic producers at T-0. They hired industry veterans en masse, the types who, cut their teeth on woke reboots and ESG checklists. Their goal? Pump out AAA console hits to conquer the West. Fast forward to 2024, 2025, now-ish, and it's a total disaster. NetEase's Q4 revenue was up a measly 1.5%. Profits were down 2.6% despite Marvel Rivals practically printing money. But why? Those Western bets tanked. Studios churning out unprofitable slop. Ballooning costs, from sky-high salaries, and sensitivity readers that nobody asked for. Enter CEO William Ding's rage mode. Geopolitical risks and cost overruns were the official cited problems of why this happened, but insiders whisper it's the flops that's killing all of them. I mean, let's just cue the carnage here, shall we? Jar of Sparks in Seattle gets shut down, January of 2025. The hired Infinite Halo's design head, gone. Worlds Untold in Vancouver, Canada, Mass Effect scribe Mac Walters, toasted. Operations halted February 2025. Staff are scrambling for buyers. The studio I mentioned earlier, T-0 in the United States, had a sci-fi MMO which was completely just crushed in August of 2025. Even execs loved the demo that they had made so far, but the costs were just too high, and they said, nope, no thanks. Bad Brain Game Studios in Toronto, Canada, a studio that had been around for 2 years and doesn't have a single game to show for it. Their lights out came just recently, and it's completely over. November 17th of this year, 2025 is when all the lights will go off there, and it's just over. Watch Dogs veteran Sean Crooks and his crew, well, they're packing their boxes now. And don't forget, fantastic Pixel Castle, some MMO in limbo. It's been there forever, that it's had all its funding pulled now. NetEase is just done. That's half a dozen Western graves dug in under 2 fucking years. What's NetEase's angle and their pivot? Well, it's pretty simple. They're bringing everything back to China, where, games like Black Myth Wukong, a $70 million indie title from a team only comprised of 150 people, sold 20 million copies in a month, and there's no DEI or quotas or any of that shit attached to it. No baggage. If you take a look at, when this was all going down, I was taking a look at X, and it's out of control. People are screaming, NetEase is rejecting woke output, and DEI studios are dying faster and faster. And as I looked through all these, posts on X, it made me ponder a bit, if you will. Is this all a coincidence? Nope. In fact, as I looked into this and did my research, there isn't a single solitary game in existence anywhere, ever, regardless of whether or not it was its own brand new IP from a new studio or an already well-established one in a big AAA studio that was full of woke virtue signaling, lecturing, or DEI bullshit that has ever been successful or profitable. Not one. There isn't a single one. Every single one has tanked the studios they've been released from. What does that tell you? These closures ultimately just scream, we tried your activist hires and now we're broke. I mean, this whole thing is brutal, right? Billions flushed because Western talent couldn't deliver without turning every single fucking game they touched into a higher ed lecture hall, practically. Now, let's shift a little further east to Japan. Square Enix, the creators of Final Fantasy. I've made several videos recently about them, about the fall of Final Fantasy, about how broken Final Fantasy XIV is, etc., etc. These guys have been bleeding cash on Western experiments since the 2010s. Remember the Eidos buyout, Tomb Raider reboots that flopped culturally? But in 2024 and 2025, we've reached peak desperation. President Takashi Kiiru straight up admits last year's restructuring flopped. And now,
Hold on to your lug nuts! It's time for an overhaul!
November 6th, just 2 days ago, 2025, all hands Zoom meeting went between all the higher ups, and they dropped the bomb. Nearly all areas of US, Canada, and Europe are getting cleansed. IT, marketing, QA, sales, publishing, everything. In London, 140 are reported to be at risk, 140 jobs. Entire teams like collective, indies and brand marketing are on the chopping block. US numbers are unknown, but sources say another 100 plus gone by the end of this week. Total of 250 plus, all Western studios combined. That's like a lot of jobs instantly vaporized, saving over 3 billion yen, $20 million yearly in American money. This begs the question, though. Why now? I mean, these things have been flopping for quite some time. What's changed? Well, first and foremost, sales misses are all over the place. You remember Forspoken, which tanked at a $50 million loss. Babylon's Fall was dead on arrival. Even Guardians of the Galaxy underperformed. Then, in the middle of the year of 2025, they had a 15% net sales drop. That's an extraordinary loss in business terms. Western chief John, I can't even really pronounce his name, Inek? I don't know. He is a huge woke piece of shit that is responsible for actually a lot of the DEI focus that was at Blizzard, because then after he left Blizzard, he went to Square in a similar role a few years back, and he resigned in shame yesterday. After defending DEI and all that shit like it was, the gospel and telling people on social media, quite literally, to piss off. Square's fix was simply just to nuke all the overseas development, consolidate right back in Japan. They sold Crystal Dynamics and Eidos to Embracer back in 2022, and now their eyes set on their publishing department. Oh, and of course, we have another cited AI takeover. 70%, they said 70% of QA is going to be automated by 2027, and that includes like translations, things like that. Because why pay diverse testers when bots don't sue you for discrimination? I mean, it's kind of a smart move, to be honest. And X's reaction and other social media outlets over this were just as out of control as the ones regarding NetEase, to be honest. Finally ditching the woke branch, and Japan's focus equals the sales are going to boom. I mean, if there's any success coming now, once again, for Square or NetEase, of course it's yet to be seen, since companies like Square still give developers like Nomura the reins in their games. They still refuse to stop doing that. But certainly things cannot get worse by completely unplugging the Western studio and causing a huge purge within these studios that they've had planted over in the West for quite a while now. Japan's labor laws make mass firings more rare back at home, but in the West, it's all fair game, and in my opinion, very well deserved at this point. I think we're starting to see a pattern. When you invest in merit and vision, your company just thrives. When you chase quotas and do mental gymnastics to appease literally less than 1% of not just your player base, but all players that play video games everywhere, your company's doomed to die. But let's get real here. This isn't just cutting costs and a business move. It's DEI rot finally costing more than it was worth keeping around. You see, you may not be aware, but Western government-funded and UN-pushed ESG scores and the overwhelming long arm of BlackRock and all that bullshit that comes with it are so fucking destructive to profits that the losses are now far outweighing the donations they would give these studios to push their agendas. As always, the bottom line for these companies is never going to not be money. They're a business that want to make profit. Nothing more. You see, over the last few decades, Western studios hired via quotas, not skill or merit, and pushed representation over gameplay and everything else, practically. They pushed things like pronouns, body types, and ignoring reality, and sensitivity squads saying all these things are mandatory. Straight white men and Christian men and just anybody who's, not a minority that's in development is toxic. And I know that's a bit of an exaggeration, but ultimately that's what the industry has been like. I have friends in the industry that directly tell me about this stuff. And the result? Games like Concord, full diverse heroes and zero fun, shut down after losing $400 million and only reaching a peak of 25,000 players. Games like Suicide Squad, $200 million lost there, and it's just full of DEI lectures and all that bullshit. The bottom line is, players overwhelmingly in both the East and the West hate this shit. And the Asian firms are starting to wake the hell up. No more BlackRock mandates, no more ESG bribes are going to get taken. I mean, companies like Capcom and Bandai Namco thrive on fan service and just putting tight mechanics and focusing on the games themselves. I mean, there's already, and has been for a while in the gaming industry anyway, hiring booms in Asian countries, while Western studios bleed like 10,000 jobs alone in 2024. It also doesn't help that, like at home, Western studios like Square have had to take action against their own Western employees when they celebrate murder and death on their social media while carrying the tag of the company they work for. And I don't want the world to see me. The bottom line, NetEase, Square, they both tried the West's inclusive poison, and better way to put it, they got fucking indigestion. And now they're just purging. and sales will likely start to improve for them. This is simply market Darwinism, woke weeding itself out. And of course, the Looney Tunes will scream and shout as they always do on Reddit and every other cancerous social media outlets, and probably in my comments section too. It seems to be the only thing they really put any effort into doing. But I'm here to tell you and say the following. Developers in the East, some waking up in the West, and gamers as a whole don't give a fuck. We don't care about your cries and your boos, because we've all seen, especially in the more recent months, what makes you cheer. Anyway, guys, this has been Horazio. Thanks for hanging out with me, coming back to my channel. We're really close to hitting 8K subs. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten over the last few months. It's been absolutely amazing. Remember, I never ask for money. I'm still streaming every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Sometimes I throw in a second stream on Wednesday evenings, at least I'm planning to. And I stream on all three platforms, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, all at the same time. So if you're a type of person that likes to watch streams, come throw me a follow and give me a watch. You don't have to give me any money or anything like that. It's just fun to hang out and discuss things. That's the whole reason I do stream. So come hang out if you're the kind of person that likes to watch streams. If not, it's all good. Make sure you like this video if you liked it, and dislike it if you didn't like it. That's fine too. And just go fuck yourself. I don't care. Thanks everybody once again for hanging out. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. The next Fall of a Franchise video is well on its way. Don't worry. And I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but it's coming. As always, everybody, take care of yourselves. Be safe. God bless. And as always, keep it real.